Hey, Grand Rising, everyone. We're going to start this off like we always do, shouting out the sponsors and playing some music, man. Hopefully everybody good. Power to the motherfucking people. Let's go.
Class in session, so it's time for you to get the notes. The quickest way to sell your soul is when you niggas vote. This shit I'm kicking is forbidden, better listen, bro. A politician preaching love is the biggest joke. See, what they do is use the shit as a tool. Got us focused on these fools and putting shit in our food. Fighting to free your mind is kinda hollow but true. The system make you a zombie if you follow the rules, so we rebel. But not too many live it to tell, till they find the cheat code using digital scales. Paradise is aborted when the mission is failed. Heaven and hell collide like prison and jail. And you don't need religion just to say you awake. You even dumber than you look, you think you came from an ape. Religion needs science, science need religion. One tell a story and the other paint the picture. But listen, nigga, if you dig a little deeper, you can find that little rabbit in the mother of the reaper. I'm the best for a reason. There's a message in the speaker. When the cosmos talking, that's a blessing from the ether. One day I met the devil for real and made a deal with him. Told him all I want is the money and kept it real with him. Came in the form of a thought, I couldn't build with him. Shit I was selling the fiends was really killing them. Your gun bars ain't much if your gat don't shoot. I'm strapped and bulletproof like the Batman suit. All it takes is one snap to have my enemies killed. The laws in space and time, I could bend them at will. Yeah, I'm in the world that some of y'all have not seen, and living on the page that some of y'all cannot read. And right now they probably calling me cheap, cause I decided it's enough and now I finally speak. Tell you the truth, I don't trust people who cheat. It's deeper than having sex, you give birth to deceit. If you see where this is going, this is true as can be. If you lie to the ones you love, then you do it to me. The cold word is rainy night. Niggas get wet outside, but ain't no rain in sight. They wonder where this come from. Ascension when it's all done. No reason to believe in a God. When you become one, you understand. You could get it the same. Niggas will double cross you if it get them the fame. My soul ain't for sale just to get in the game. It's dangerous, homie, just remember the name.
Last of my people been driven over to the United States for over 700 years, and I carried the Europe, I taught the Europeans the children coming back.
They just wanna keep us asleep. I know this shit suck, but when the fuck when niggas wake up, I know this shit tough. Every other step you take, you get your foot stuck. Cause they go and show you the fly with some niggas pushed up. Religion is a part of the system, my nigga, listen. If you ain't got control of your soul, then you's a victim. The Pope all over the net with politicians. The same politicians who sleeping with little children. Time to make them pay for what they did to the youth. But freedom of speech is nothing when they censoring truth. You ain't gotta show shit when you live in the proof. Giving support to your oppressors, man, you niggas is goofs. Time to fight fire with fire, get on some nigga shit. Time to get back what they stole, all of our innocence. Some people hate the way that I talk, this shit be spicy. But say a bunch of shit that ain't true, it isn't likely. They try to say your vision ain't true, but with your sight see. The best way to tear you apart is through your psyche. I give it to you real, what you need me to say. Ask the world leaders about the oath they secretly take. It's a plan that they got to keep us legally slaves. Paid labor overwhelming when you needed a break. If you think that I'm just talking it, bitch, you lost. It's a war going on like rich versus poor. The rich keep getting rich while your broke ass starve. Feeding you little pennies at that punk ass job. Thinking cause you get it in tax, you need that income. Really, I'm just stating the facts cause niggas been dumb. Your emotions are controlled by a system. Cause when I make a song full of hate, niggas listen. When I make a song about love, niggas skip it. They both from the soul, so really ain't nothing different. Today you gotta give it a fight to make the hate stop. Niggas on that ignorant shit gon' get a face shot. Believe what you wanna believe. A lot of niggas snakes, only going off of belief. A lot of shit is fake with 2 cans blazing. I'm ready for damnation. So tell a slave master I'm burning the plantation. You fuck niggas like to throw pain but can't take it. So all during war these flames remain sacred. Barrel to the root of your tongue, you niggas tasteless. Lights flying over your head, it ain't a spaceship. The reason why we fully equipped was information. It led us on the path that got us out of the matrix. Unity is power beyond, we should embrace it. But you could never bathe in the truth when you were racist. Speeding off what you was taught, then the brakes slip. Then you see it's nothing you thought, that shit is dangerous. A lot of people dying for what? That shit was aimless. It's kinda like a video game, it took stages. Just make sure these lanes remain nameless. Hood politics part 2, my name dangerous.
Hey, shout out my brother Straight Smoke. What's good, Straight Smoke? Yeah, do a mic check, brother. Undo your mic.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good brother. I'm not gonna be able to let you stay up on the panel right now. I got Alabama doing a book review with the sister who wrote a book called what's the name of the book? Why are you calling me black? No, what's the name of it? Who are you calling black? A demand to the end of genocide of the Aboriginal Americans. So after she gives her presentation and they talk, I'll let people up. But right now I don't want to let nobody up because I don't want them to interrupt the presentation that the sister gonna do. You got me, good brother?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate that. Yeah, that
Yes, sir.
link is for Alabama and the sister Angel A.
I understand. Have a
So
good
you
one.
can come back after we let people back on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, good brother. Much love to you and the family, man.
As always.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that link is for Alabama.
Shit getting out of control, I mean we been there. Hate, they disguise it as love, we call it sincere. They took us to a place where ain't none of this shit clear, and we just look stupid, wondering how we get here. This government got us in chains cause they don't love us. They got us separated by gangs over some colors. What hurts more is we keep trusting these motherfuckers and putting bullshit that they say over each other. It's a bad world. Many cry in this sad world. A unicorn is compared to a black girl, or any child when you mix it, making life swirl. Gems meet a diamond and dance to make the ice swirl. Nigga, don't waste your time trying to hate on me. If you can't deal with your pride, then stay away from me. I don't fuck with none of that dumb shit. You heard that? Don't believe we live on a globe, nigga. The earth flat. First you gotta love yourself, then take the earth back. Find what's really important and make it worth that. Too much time in your hands lead to a dirt nap, but niggas don't keep the same energy to exert that.
What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this, and it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves.
Mind over matter, but none of that'll matter when in life you're trying to climb and a nigga pull a ladder. Believing in the myth when reality is shattered. The lies never end unless you serve it on a platter. America made you a slave, then call you monster. Erase everything that we paved and say we conquered. Willie lynching is a system that really harmed us. It raped women, left children without their fathers. America, land of the free, home of the great America, cage of the beast, home of a snake. But the fight don't stop when you gone. This shit a marathon. Everything they touched in this world, they made it terraform. The best piece of advice, stay about these pigs sight. Fuck what goes on in the street, nigga, just live life. You only get one of those, nigga. Don't play with that. Trying to dance away in the dark and never make it back. We got a lot of loving to do. Shit is getting worse. Hate run deep in these roots. It's like the shit is cursed. Murder everything you can name. The world gone berserk. Pedophilia real as fuck. It's even in the church music. We've been flaming it. No, it ain't no game with it. Just know I put my soul on the beat. When you banging it, this is for the shit that I see and won't play with it. Hood Politics Part 3. My name Dangerous.
They attacked the victim, and then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. This is American justice. This is American democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.
Thanks to Restore, Primetime is back.
This is my time.
I didn't want to be bold.
This that Nickelodeon, Mary Jane and Opium, fresh from the FedEx, yes, we got a load of them. Yeah, tear this shit down like depression. The moral of the story is you get the lesson. I'm colder than the weather in Nova Scotia. The flow is colder, turn down. You just like the lame dude. Get the shoulder, have these niggas swinging that Chris Rock when I pitch a boulder. My intentions was ill will. You cry. When I rap, get a pill feel. I can meditate and stay connected to the earth like a mill drill. They taught you to lie to your kids with Santa. I verse in the AI now ain't got the answer. Don't kill yourself trying to be me with the tanner. My eagle love getting blown like a blammer. I'm biased to the low comprehension, cause people claim vote to get a mention. You cry. And we don't wanna hear that. Keep that over there. Gotta do better. That's if you knew better. But I don't wanna bore y'all with the talk. Back to regular schedule showgramming, executive sessions. Welcome to the upper echelon of Megatrons. And it's dangerous. Laugh now, cry later. Can that fly shit you talk manifest when you falling from a skyscraper? A headshot could be a mind changer. I'm just a nigga that could hustle the hustle, getting my side paper. You know it's over when the nine sprayer. Oh, we robbing everything that you got. We operate as personality, just like your chain. It got faker, but the bullets like the ice in your drink. They shot chasers, too much talking. You throwing in places these cops take us. Prison is a mental design for time chambers. Procrastination is a disease for time takers. When it's war, they could never be law for line makers. Suck ahead, be stupid and cross and die. Player got the 4/5, waving you down like high hater. When your soul leave earth, you could let the sky take it, cause you thought shit was sweet. Laugh now, cry later.
Man, y'all know what it is, man. It's getting scary for you niggas out here, man. Know y'all feeling the pressure. This network shit, this shit real, man. Ain't nothing but real shit over here, nigga. Chris Cyphers just gave y'all a dome shot. Dangerous just put you niggas in a body bag. And now I'm about to bury you niggas, man. Yo, I'm back riding again. Dangerous and Cyphers, we gon' have to body him then. Yeah, these niggas done. We gon' have your whole crew on the run. This ain't a game, you niggas lame. Come and catch this flame, we ain't built the same. You niggas just like the cap of fame. The 40'll make your soul glow. Silencer on the end of the barrel, where the smoke blow. I need a heat check, Lilith from the logo. Smoke inside, you can smell my mojo. Fucking with Drake Cobbs, that's a no-no. This that big three, Boss Brown and D-Wade. Looking to let the heat spray. We pull up to your block like it's D-Day. We ain't playing, nigga, this ain't EA. We like wolves when the nigga see prey, and move like Neo when the nigga see strays. I Tyreek kill the competition, chuck the deuces, nigga, on the replay. Hit cheetah, moving past you, nigga. I chuck the deuces on the replay. Man, y'all know what it is, man. Chris Cyphers, Dangerous, Trey Cobbs, man. This network shit ain't nothing but real shit over here, man. Nothing but real. You already know. Y'all knowing how we get down, Joe. Network, nigga. Network forever, nigga. Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine and make they world in, I'm going in the same dirt my ancestors buried in. I come from a god and a goddess, so what that make me? Not even Basquiat can trace me. Not even Van Gogh can paint me. The MC in me is the God MC, equals the God in me. I'm focused in, let my mind be free. You too blind to see. The Jews I give is real, it's been real. These ain't shots, they missiles. All you gonna hear is the whistle. Lyrically, this an execution. My verses start revolutions from my people seeking restitution. Since the beginning, fuck evolution. Or maybe my reality is all a dream. I put it together like I was sowing seams. So it seems this is that audio dopamine. Go against the regime, we put you where nobody can hear you scream and sing you to meet your Elohim. My nigga, this is savage mode. It's something that you can't decode. It started with a spark and I'ma let it explode. I was given the cheat codes that'll let me dump and reload and go through them waves like a fucking torpedo. You dealt the cards of life, I just cut them diamonds with the ace of spades. Y'all scatter like roaches when they facing raid, or vampires when they facing blade. I'm trying to get next to Shireen like I'm getting played. You still stuck as a mental slave. You still stuck in that mental cage. While I'm making easy money, pipping hoes in style. This my coming to age. Crowd roaring when I'm coming on stage. And when I'm done, they gonna be cheering my name. Drake Cobbs, and nah, I ain't quit my day job. I spit bars. I really rap on my day off. That's real shit. Just give you some tools you can build with. Aim high even if you still miss. Just keep going. It's a climb to the top. And I'ma keep flowing. Down Lake Shore, I'm Chicagoan. Yeah. You niggas is playing checkers, we playing chess. And nigga, this is checkmate. Dre be the big dog and you just a little bait. You out of Africa and we ain't got the same traits. I'm a God being and we ain't got the same fate. My granny died February 18th and I was born on the same date. The chosen one, the ancestors' chosen son. They gave me the golden gun. One shot, that's a hole in one. From the pyramid of the sun to Poverty Point. I don't think you niggas is getting the point. We still here. Who said they made the Aboriginals disappear? Your information's lagging in the rear. All you do is teach fear. We copper colored with woolly hair. Am I speaking clear? So fuck the nonsense. When I rap, I touch your consciousness. From within is where you get your self-confidence. Let's bring it back to dominance. Ain't no confining us. Gonna bring that wild Indian out of us. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We still here.
I'm putting the link in the chat for Alabama and the sister, there you go, and the sister Angel A.
Do not call an attorney if you've been in a car accident until you see this. There's an easier.
I'm gonna give you the host, my brother Alabama. Well, I gotta finish playing music, then I can give you the host.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, brother.
Okay, well, we're good. Now I'm gonna send her in the background. I'm gonna mute.
Got you. I'll play a couple more songs till she come up. Shout out everybody, man.
For info, I make what's complex look simple. To reclaim my birthright, my MO. My blood ties to the land, my credentials. Turtle Island, Nietzsche, my kinfolk. The vibration on this frequency I live for. We get sick, we don't go to hospital. We heal ourselves with herbs and crystals. Mother Nature speaks, my soul gets tickled. We already equipped with the essentials. No Similac for my little. All my babies get the milk from mama's nipple. Raising rebels, too create ripples in the system. It's not liberal. We teach the youth to go to source for they vittles. Be the B, don't be the man in the middle. That's a third party, a fifth whip. They tell you saving a little is a big deal. Wanna trick the RZA with his own spell? Learn to conjure, then you'll pierce the veil. That's his story, I didn't write that. It's my birthright, I want my life back. Was on the wrong path, now I'm on the right track. Was in the dark, now I'm in the light, fam. My skin's divine, I love this melanin. Did you know? My DNA divine, liquid gold, I'm rich. Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. With the eye of Horus, I see infinity. Woke up like Neo, started training my abilities. I'm not a storm, baby, let me be your peace. Your protector, the enemy runs in retreat. Shout out to Sophia, born to be a steward. Bobby Hemmett and Malachi Z. York. Rod Hayes, Mama Rebert, Interstellar. Dane Calloway, Billy Carson, Young Elder. With my light codes, I'm in fight mode. For the next generation, we gon' right wrongs. Get off the merry-go, don't repeat the cycle. You in the dark cause you forgot to cut your lights on. With the lights on, like Tupac, all eyes on. The usurper, trying to take my throne. I urge karma to drown you in a typhoon. An open book, you see what page I'm on. My skin's divine, I love this melanin. Did you know? My DNA divine, liquid gold, I'm rich. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. Believing I'm a U.S. citizen is propaganda. Had to call a brother true to correct my status. We own churches, not LLCs, they can't tax us. The government and central banking, it's all collapsing. Instead of chasing bread, we run on the bank. They'll become insolvent, we bankrupt the bank. Consumers exercising power makes them afraid. The GOV works for us, we the people, man. The Iroquois Constitution is supreme law. First Babylon, now it's England and Rome's turn to fall. Put the Pope on notice, discovery, doctrine is false. At critical mass, Mother Nature gets restored. A green lantern lights my path, not a torch. At the fork in the road, you gotta choose a course. Light codes or dark secrets, what do you endorse? Me? I make you Darth Vader's feel the force. Yeah, I pray this resonates with your spirit. This is meant for everyone, not just the esoteric. Atomize it, dissect the message in my lyrics. I'm a god, how could I not love my appearance? My skin's divine, I love this melanin. Did you know? My DNA divine, liquid gold, I'm rich. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know you're indigenous? Did you know? Put your right hand up, now make a fist.
It's kind of like the sun coming over a dark cloud and shining on you with its warm rays of beneficence.
Yo, once again from the soul. This is my notebook. Let me rip you a page that'll make you sit back and witness the plague. Got kids pitching grenades, missing the days. Guess you can't be a star sitting in the shade. And at times, life will make you sicker than AIDS. Twisting the haze, laid out wishing you prayed. Working hard, no difference is made. In a world that'll kill you and spit in your grave. The best thing a parent can say to a child: success is no restriction for age. Or we might be another nigga twisting some braids in the penitentiary, spending some days. Bad choices, plus you know how niggas persuade. Them snakes got venomous ways. And the worst thing to a man is feeling betrayed. Head above water, still get hit with a wave. Still think of my queen, get hit with a daze. Still treat us no different than slaves. This world will take hearts and fill them with rage. Water seeds with hate and make them sit in a cage.
We wait
on some bullshit. World on some bullshit. Nothing new under the sun. Shit ain't no different today. You know I can give up what your ministers say. I won't forget the past to remember the faith. As society takes souls and send them astray. Then it's the hate you got trapped deep in your heart. So in these times I fall back deep in the arts. Hidden colors, got a nigga seeking the arc. Sipping tea, watching devils pull people apart. I remember an old saying, reap what you sow. On your journey, stay humble and teach what you know. And this flow ain't the shit you see at the store. It's more like the damn killer that you greet at the door. Third eye be the seed of your soul. Such a beautiful earth these demons control. Gonna make shit better if I can. Cause all over the world my empire stand. On some bullshit. World on some bullshit. On some bullshit. World on some bullshit. On some bullshit. World on some bullshit.
The moment you realize it's people that you love that you gon' have to leave behind. I was told, wow, look, we at war. Everybody can't go though. Some of us vibing high. Everybody can't go though. Some of y'all might leave family behind. Everybody can't go though. Could've completed, but you get deleted. Some people are defeated, so you feel deleted. And knowledge is medicine, knowing you need it. If everyone go, I'ma know that you cheated. You think I'm conceited, I'm feeling completed. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Look. Everybody can't go though, beat it. You was ascending and starting to win. No pretending, actually win. Low vibrations, boxing you in. Who keep letting them toxins in? All my people are toxin us. Everyone on our toxin land. Ancient like cosmology. I am the source, I go within. I can't go unless I go to win. Really a God supposed to win. Anyone that's trying to get with me, just start doing the most you in. Trying to turn up, it goes to 10. Blood type O, you almost in. Minarchin, we all go in. G, I'm a rule, we all go in. Bring you the water, but can't make you drink. No, I'm not here to just make you think. If anything, I'm here to just make you fight. It's all lost, just make it right. Everybody ain't with it. Let me tell you, I don't like reading. Freedom ain't free, you broke, I get it. Let me tell you, you don't like breathing. Can't even wake you up, you sleeping. Niggas are sleeping, scalping season. Some of y'all sleep through all this treason. Government beefing, now you vegan. Need autonomy, really don't need them. Now we rise, cause house is freedom. Really gon' hurt my heart to leave them. Really gon' hurt my heart to leave them. This is simulation or a cycle. They be hating on you for survival. That's why I don't mess with the Bible. Ain't nobody tribal going viral. We original, we hold the title. Lot of work to do, how you idle. Ain't no false idols in they bio. We ancient in Ohio. Say what you want and do what you do, but I'm starting to get, I don't know about you. Gotta go within, can't go on YouTube. If you think you know, you ain't got no clue. Say what you want and do what you do, but I'm starting to get it, I don't know if you do. Gotta go within, can't go on YouTube. You thinking you know, you ain't got no clue. We at war. Everybody can't go though. Some of us vibing high. Everybody can't go though. Some of y'all might leave family behind. Everybody can't go though. Could've completed, but you get deleted. Some people are feeded, so you feel deleted. And knowledge is medicine, knowing you need it. If everyone go, I'ma know that you cheated. You think I'm conceited, I'm feeling completed. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Life is a game and I'm planning to beat it. Look, gotta be. Look, everybody can't go though, beat it.
So after this next song, I'll give you the host, my brother Alabama. Hopefully everybody having a beautiful grand rising, power to
Billy
the
OG Billy, he just said he's getting ready to give you the host after this next song. Oh, I hear it.
When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
Living legend, heavy weapons, I never lethal weapons, steady prepping all my weapons. About to teach a lesson, who you checking? About to pull out my Smith and Wesson, shoot you in your head, you dead. Top of another lesson, got the shot it, rocking bodies, killing everybody like a hobby, leaving bloody bodies in fucking lobbies. Tell somebody if you want to, you little snitch, you will make it down the line. Little stupid bitch, who is this? Never fed is playing hero, burning yes alive to play the flute like a Miro, racking up the dollar. I gotta get this to zero. Hacking everything, encrypted ones and zeros. Fuck a crypto, you tryna bag me in info. Fuck us so good to put some bombs in some benzos. World leader, y'all getting killed with the heater. The hurricane is the reason. Came here to delete you.
When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
Neural weapons, hacking brain waves, absorb the essence, coalescing with the energy, make a bigger weapon. Everything be destroyed. I am the fucking storm, elemental spiritual form. You people getting warned, better run. Look out, because here I come, having fun. Send this whole world the kingdom come. Every fed get decapitated, decided to say it. Nigga fed up in the building that is dilapidated, exacerbated. This situation destroy the nation. These world leaders ain't good, they be perpetrating, kill them all. Got a weapon that make them all dissolve. Kill the evil on this planet, then your problem solved. Final call, middle finger to the fucking law. Alphabet boys, I'm getting rid of all of y'all world leaders. They ain't getting killed with the heat of the hurricane. It's the reason and came here to delete you.
When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When shit hit the fan, ain't no time for no running. Everybody already know the storm coming. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
Hey. Yeah.
Hey, shout out all the artists in the community music I play. I ain't sure which one you want me to make the host, brother. You know, I ain't sure which one you want me to make the host, but I made one of them the host. I hope I made the right one the host. Welcome to Sister Angel, the writer.
Yeah, but you need to make me the host.
Say it again.
You need to make me the host.
I did. I made. It got two brother 321s in here.
Yeah, that's me.
You don't see it?
I do now. I'm trying to deal with the echo. Go ahead. Let me play. You play one more song. I'm gonna try to share a video to give us time to set up.
Yeah, basically I can't play another song because I gave you the host already.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave
Give
you
me
the
a second here. I'm trying to set up the video.
Did I give the right one the host or you want me to get the other one a host? Because you got two avatars.
No, can you make Angel? You got Angel co-host. That's cool.
Let me
Yeah,
mute
give
up.
me a sec here, man. I've got to set up the video. I'm gonna share the video. That'll give me some time.
And shout out everybody in the house, man. Grand Rising. There you go. I'm a mute up. I'll be listening in the background. Welcome to the platform, A Angel. Much love and respect always. Appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Go ahead, Alabama. You got it.
Listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country.
Y'all. So MAGA is furious, absolutely beside themselves. And you want to know why? Because black Americans are waking up to the fact that we can legally claim land that was promised to us over 150 years ago. 40 acres and a mule. You've heard the phrase. You've probably joked about it. But did you know it was a real promise? Did you know it was backed by federal law? Did you know that millions of acres of land were supposed to be distributed to formerly enslaved people, and that promise was broken, stolen, and covered up? Well, black folks are finding out. We're pulling out the receipts. We're going into courtrooms. We're filing claims. We're using treaty law, property law, and federal statutes to reclaim what was stolen from our ancestors. And MAGA? They're losing their minds. Because the one thing they can't stand is black people knowing their rights and demanding what's owed. Today, we're breaking down the legal pathway for black Americans to reclaim native land, the historical context, the court cases that are being won right now, and why this has white supremacists shaking in their boots. What's good, family? If you're new here, this is where we pull receipts, expose systems, and empower black people with knowledge that was deliberately hidden from us. If you've been rocking with us, you know the vibes. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe, because what we're about to unpack is not just history. It's a roadmap to reclaiming what's ours. Let's start with the facts, because this story goes deeper than most people know. On January 16th, 1865, Union General William Tecumseh Sherman issued Special Field Order No. 15. This order set aside 400,000 acres of land along the coast of South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida to be distributed to formerly enslaved families. Each family was to receive 40 acres. The Army also had surplus mules that were to be given to help them farm the land. This is where the phrase 40 acres and a mule comes from. But here's what they don't teach you in school. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture. This was federal policy. By June of 1865, 40,000 formerly enslaved people had been settled on 400,000 acres of land. They were farming, they were building, they were creating generational wealth. And then President Andrew Johnson reversed the order. He gave the land back to the former Confederate landowners, the same people who had enslaved black people, who had fought a war to keep us enslaved, got their land back. And black people? We got nothing. But here's the thing. The promise was never legally nullified. The treaties, the federal statutes, the property laws that were supposed to protect that land, they still exist. And black families across the country are using those laws to reclaim what was stolen. Now let's talk about the legal pathway, because this is where it gets real. Black Americans, particularly those who can prove indigenous ancestry, are using treaty law to reclaim land. The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek in 1830 with the Choctaw Nation, the Treaty of New Ekataw in 1835 with the Cherokee Nation, and the post-Civil War treaties of 1866 with the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole nations all contained guarantees of citizenship and land rights. Here's the key. Many black people have indigenous ancestry. During slavery, there was significant intermarriage and mixing between enslaved Africans and Native Americans. But when Jim Crow laws were implemented, indigenous families with dark skin were reclassified as black or colored in census records, birth registers, and marriage licenses. This wasn't clerical error. This was strategy. If an indigenous person could be legally reclassified as black, the state could deny they were native, dissolve their tribal citizenship, and treat their land as unprotected. But courts are now recognizing this. In Oklahoma, descendants of black indigenous citizens of the 5 tribes have enforced the 1866 treaties, securing restored citizenship and reopening land claims. In Cherokee Nation versus Nash in 2017 and related federal litigation, courts recognized that the Treaty of 1866 promised citizenship to the freedmen and their descendants. In 2021, a federal district court reaffirmed that promise, leading to restored citizenship and the reopening of rights long denied through racial gatekeeping. Outside Oklahoma, families reclassified under Jim Crow have reopened probate and quiet title actions. In Virginia, where the Racial Integrity Act of 1924 erased Native identity, courts have voided transfers that relied on misclassification, restoring title to heirs who proved their ancestors were Native citizens. In North Carolina, descendants of communities such as the Lumbee have successfully challenged tax foreclosures and probate sales by showing that lands protected by treaty and state recognition were lost only after racial reclassification. This is happening right now. Black families are walking into courtrooms with faded census pages, church registers, and treaty-era records, and walking out with restored citizenship and land. Judges are not giving them charity. They are enforcing treaties. They are correcting racial erasure. And in case after case, they are returning property that was taken when indigenous ancestors were stripped of identity and renamed. So there's this video that breaks down exactly how this process works. It explains the legal framework, the evidence needed, and the court cases that are being won. And it's not theoretical. This is real. This is happening. Let me show you what it says. Black Americans can legally take back native land right now. Not through protest, not through a political favor, not through a special program, through a legitimate legal pathway that most people have never been told exists. Across the United States, families long classified as black are walking into courtrooms with faded census pages, church registers, and treaty-era records, and walking out with restored citizenship and land. Judges are not giving them charity. They are enforcing treaties. They are correcting racial erasure. And in case after case, they are returning property that was taken when indigenous ancestors were stripped of identity and renamed. Now hold on, let me stop right there, because what this video just said is revolutionary. Black Americans can legally reclaim land right now, not in the future, not after some reparations bill passes. Right now, using existing law, using treaties that were signed over 150 years ago, using property law, using federal statutes, and the key is proving descent. You need to connect 4 elements. First, a treaty or federal statute that granted land or protected an allotment to a specific indigenous citizen or family. Second, proof of descent through records, censuses, church registries, freedmen rolls, tribal lists, probate files, and land patents. Third, evidence that the ancestors' indigenous identity was erased through reclassification, leading to the loss of land. Fourth, proof that the transfer violated treaty protections, federal trust law, or state probate rules, rendering deeds void or voidable. When these elements align, judges can quiet title, restore trust land, and unwind fraudulent deeds. Where land has been subdivided over generations, courts can consolidate interests and return large contiguous tracts. Here's my verdict. This is not a pipe dream. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. And Black families are winning these cases. The door is open. The records exist. And for families willing to prove their lineage, the land is not gone. It is legally recoverable. Let's talk about the hypocrisy, because MAGA folks are losing their minds over this. When white people talk about property rights, they love to say, "This is my land. I bought it fair and square. The government can't take it from me." But the land they're sitting on, a lot of it was stolen. Stolen from indigenous people, stolen from Black people, stolen through violence, fraud, and legal manipulation. Black families owned millions of acres of land in the early 20th century. By some estimates, Black Americans owned over 16 million acres of farmland. But through a combination of discriminatory lending practices, legal loopholes, tax foreclosures, and outright violence, that land was taken. By the end of the century, Black land ownership had dwindled to less than 2 million acres. And now, when Black people are using the law to reclaim what was stolen, MAGA folks are calling it theft. They're calling it reverse racism. They're calling it unfair. But all we're doing is enforcing the law. All we're doing is correcting the fraud. All we're doing is taking back what was ours in the first place. Let's zoom out. Because this isn't just about land. This is about systems. The same system that stole land from Black people is the same system that redlined our neighborhoods, denied us loans, excluded us from the GI Bill, and mass incarcerated us. It's the same system that created the racial wealth gap. It's the same system that keeps Black people at the bottom of every economic indicator. And the reason they're so furious about Black people reclaiming land is because land is wealth. Land is power. Land is generational security. If Black people start reclaiming the millions of acres that were stolen from us, if we start building wealth on that land, if we start passing it down to our children, we become a threat to the system. Because a Black community with land is a Black community that doesn't need the system. A Black community with land can feed itself, house itself, educate itself, and protect itself. And that's exactly what they don't want. Now, let's talk about how to actually do this, because knowledge without action is just information. The path begins with history, not hearsay. Families need to identify specific indigenous ancestors using censuses, church records, freedmen rolls, treaty lists, and tribal registries. They need to trace lineage forward to the present. They need to locate the land and reconstruct how it left the family. They need to file claims grounded in treaty enforcement, quiet title, and probate law, supported by evidence that reclassification caused the loss. This work is demanding. It takes patience, legal counsel, and archival research. But it works because the law recognizes what racism tried to erase, that citizenship and land rights flow through families, not skin color. Now, individual families can win cases, but communities win movements. Japanese Americans secured redress for wartime internment through the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, not because one person sued alone, but because communities organized, documented harm, built legal strategies, and forced the government to confront its own record. Unity turned memory into law. Black Americans reclaiming indigenous land must do the same. When families work in isolation, records remain fragmented. When communities organize, they reconstruct entire lineages, connect allotments, and expose systemic patterns of reclassification. Courts respond differently when they see not one erased ancestor, but hundreds linked by the same racial strategy. Community means shared archives, legal defense funds, research teams, and public accountability. Elders, genealogists, and attorneys working together to confront the institutions that erased identity. Black Americans can legally reclaim native land today because treaties remain the supreme law of the land. Courts are enforcing them. Families are proving descent. Communities are organizing. And the erasure of the past is being confronted with the only language powerful enough to undo it: the law. Let's go to scripture, because some of y'all need a moral check. Leviticus 25, verse 23. The land must not be sold permanently, because the land is mine, and you reside in my land as foreigners and strangers. The land belongs to God, and God gave it to all people to steward, not to hoard. When land is stolen, when it's taken through violence and fraud, that's a sin. And restoring that land, returning it to the rightful heirs, that's justice. So when MAGA folks get mad about black people reclaiming land, they're not mad about the law. They're mad about justice. They're mad that the system they benefited from is finally being held accountable. So to my black family watching this, hear me clearly. You are owed. You are owed land. You are owed wealth. You are owed reparations. And you have a legal pathway to claim what's yours. This is not charity. This is not a handout. This is enforcement of treaties. This is correction of fraud. This is justice. But you have to do the work. You have to research your family history. You have to find the records. You have to connect the dots. You have to file the claims. And you have to organize with other families who are doing the same thing. This is not easy, but it's possible. And it's happening right now. Families are winning these cases. Land is being returned. Citizenship is being restored. And the system that tried to erase us is being forced to acknowledge what it did. Now let me be clear about the scale of this. Indigenous allotments were often 40, 80, or 160 acres per citizen. When an ancestor was erased and their allotment taken, that loss multiplied across generations. When heirs reunite and prove the original right, courts restore the entire allotment. Where multiple siblings' allotments were lost through the same racial strategy, restored acreage aggregates into large tracts. The scale is not generosity. It is arithmetic, finally honored by law. This is not about getting rich quick. This is about restoring what was stolen. This is about building generational wealth. This is about creating a foundation for future generations. And here's the thing. The resources to do this exist. There are genealogists who specialize in Black and Indigenous ancestry. There are attorneys who specialize in treaty law and property law. There are organizations that are helping families navigate this process. You don't have to do this alone, but you do have to start. You have to take the first step. You have to research your family. You have to find the records. You have to connect with other families. You have to organize. Because this is not just about you. This is about your children. This is about your grandchildren. This is about the next 7 generations. This is about breaking the cycle of poverty and creating a legacy of wealth. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, this sounds too good to be true. This sounds like a scam. And I get it. We've been lied to so many times. We've been promised so much and given so little. But this is different. This is law. This is being enforced in courts right now. This is real. And the reason you haven't heard about it is because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that you have a legal claim to land. They don't want you to know that treaties are still enforceable. They don't want you to know that racial reclassification can be corrected. Because if you knew, you would act. And if you acted, you would win. So they keep it quiet. They keep it hidden. They keep it out of the mainstream media. But the information is out there. The court cases are public record. The treaties are public documents. The census records are available. You just have to look. And when you find it, when you prove your claim, when you walk into that courtroom and walk out with your land, you're not just winning for yourself. You're winning for your ancestors. You're winning for your descendants. You're winning for the entire Black community. Because every acre of land that's returned to a Black family is an acre that's no longer in the hands of people who stole it. Every acre of land that's returned is an acre that can be used to build wealth, to create opportunity, to establish security. Every acre of land that's returned is a victory against the system that tried to erase us. All right, family, that's all I got. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and drop a comment. Did you know about this legal pathway? Are you going to research your family history? Let me know. And if you haven't subscribed, do that now. We do
Okay, my sister, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can, absolutely. Mic check,
You
mic check.
you have an echo.
I know, that's why I'm gonna have to mute on my side. So are you ready for your presentation? I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Let me know if you can share yours. Can you? I'm starting to see it now.
You see the screen?
I do. You hear me?
Yes, I do. You sound good.
You got it.
Yo, peace and power to all Indigenous Aborigines of America. Utmost gratitude and respect and appreciation to OG Philly and to you, Alabama. Thank you so much. Yako Kilawa. A few words of power here. Yo, Yama, yo, Yama Poshno, Yama Chafa Nonka, Yama. Ama waka Poshno lo fiho lo awato kaho loka. Yamachi to awaho loka benili. Yama chokma yakoki lawa. I am a angel. I proclaim and reserve all my natural born rights of Indigenous Aborigines as secured by our Aboriginal warriors in the American Revolution victory. This demand ends the genocide of my people, Aboriginal Americans, the Indigenous Negro-Negroid phenotypic people of America. We are natural-born Americans, true American people by blood. Continental North America is our ancestral homeland, and the United States of America is our ancestral homeland country. Any violations to our natural-born citizen rights violates the Constitution of our country and is subject to the rule of law without limitation under United States of America authority and jurisdiction. Please be advised. So I want to start this off with reading from the book. And the name of this book is Who Are You Calling Black? A Demand to End the Genocide of Aboriginal Americans. So I'm going to turn to pages 18 to 28 for those who have the book. And this is the section on the meaning of specific terms. I want to start out with the meanings of specific terms so we all can be on the same page with what this book is talking about, the references, my commentary, my analysis, we have to look at the terms that are being used and what they mean. All right, I'm going to start out with, in the book, the definition for race. Race is referenced in this demand. Race is referenced in this demand to mean the social construction and categorization of people based on perceived shared physical traits that result in the maintenance of a social political hierarchy. The term is also loosely applied to geographic, cultural, religious, or national groups. The significance often accorded to racial categories might suggest that such groups are objectively defined and homogeneous. However, there is much heterogeneity within categories, and the categories themselves differ across groups and cultures. On to racism. Racism is defined as meaning a system of structuring opportunity and assigning value based on phenotypic properties. For example, skin color and hair texture associated with race in the United States, which ranges from daily interpersonal interactions shaped by race to racialized opportunities for good education, housing, employment, and other resources, and unfairly disadvantages people belonging to marginalized racial groups. Racism is a form of prejudice that generally includes negative emotional reactions to members of the group, acceptance of negative stereotypes, and racial discrimination against individuals. In some cases, it leads to violence. Moving on from race and racism to systemic racism. As referenced in this demand, systemic racism, policy, and practices that exist. Again, policies and practices that exist throughout a whole society or organization that result in and support a continued unfair advantage to some, and unfair or harmful treatment of others based on race. And as we said, what is race? Race are the perceived physical biological traits. All right, continuing on to ethnicity. The concept of ethnicity contrasts with that of race in that it is concerned with group cultural identity or expression, whereas race focuses on physical and genetic traits. Continuing on, the next paragraph states, the term status infuses race and ethnicity for indigenous Aborigines in the United States of America, which means the state pertaining to their lawful natural-born rights and matrilineal inheritance as related to their estate, because it signifies the condition or circumstances in which the owner stands with regard to his or her property, which denotes their ancestral Aboriginal land title to United States of America as authenticated by identity referenced in this demand to mean evidence and sameness by legal proof. In accordance with empirical proof cited throughout this demand, the indigenous Negro Negroid phenotypic people of continental North America are Aborigines, also identified as Proto-Negroid. Indigenous Aborigines predate every wave of foreign alien invasion to North America. Continuing on. Therefore, this demand clearly means an emphatic claim which presumes that no doubt exists regarding its legal force and effect. It is a request made with authority. This demand documents how the practice of racialism, belief that race determines traits and capacities, is foundational to sociopolitically constructing the Black Negro race and Negro so-called Indian identity, as promulgated throughout a federal government system in agreement with race-based policies. Under those circumstances, sociopolitical identity brands are historic terms used to eradicate Indigenous Aborigines in the United States by administrative misidentification, characterized in this demand as indigenous erasure, an act of genocide. For context, the internationally accepted school of thought on indigenous is a term that gives recognition to describing the state of Aboriginal people to their ancestral homeland before foreign alien invasion. Now, this next thing I'm going to reference, this next piece, is coming from the United Nations. And what I just read was in the book how I describe this term indigenous. The United Nations, they do not give a definition of indigenous. What they give is an explanation. And their explanation reads like this. The concept of indigenous peoples emerged from the colonial experience whereby the Aboriginal people of a given land were marginalized after being invaded by colonial powers. Now, I find that really interesting that the UN, they do not give a definition, but however, they do explain that to be indigenous, you have to be Aboriginal. So the term indigenous is an adjective, and as we know, adjectives are words that describe. So indigenous is actually describing the connection and the relationship that Aboriginal people have to their ancestral homeland country. Now, continuing on in the book, it states, and erasure is referenced in this demand as meaning the exclusion of a group from the historical record, the replacement or whitewashing of a group, the denial of a group identity, or the misidentification of a group. Continuing on, this demand calls out indigenous erasure as the excluding, replacing, whitewashing, misidentifying, and unaliving of Aboriginal people in their ancestral homeland country by foreigners. Continuing on, let's move on to the next page on misidentification. Misidentification is referenced in this demand as meaning Aboriginal American people whose indigenous identity is mistaken or is incorrectly identified as not indigenous by the federal or a state or a local government, any of their agencies, or a local law enforcement agency. Continuing on, nevertheless, any government misidentification of Aboriginal American people is fraudulent without their free, prior, and informed consent to being designated under federal policy as a race-based Black/Negro identity. Thus, racialization and racial profiling are referenced in this demand as the deliberate targeting, documenting, and categorizing of Aboriginal American people by a socio-politically constructed racial identity brand. Racial profiling particularly refers to the act of suspecting or targeting a person on the basis of observed characteristics or behavior. Racialization is referenced in this demand to mean the act of giving a racial character to someone or something or a people, the process of categorizing, marginalizing, or regarding according to race. Moving on, in this demand, the meaning of genocide is referenced from the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. The United Nations General Assembly codified genocide as a crime of international customary law by adopting the Genocide Convention as its first human rights treaty in 1948. The meaning of genocide is specified in Article 2 of the Convention. Quoting from the Genocide Convention, in the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such. Now, I gotta emphasize these offenses of genocide, because when we say genocide, we need to know what the definition is. There are 5 offenses in the Genocide Convention. Number 1, killing members of the group. Number 2, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. Number 3, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. Number 4, imposing measures to prevent births within the group. And number 5, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Now, I'm breaking from the book to say that all 5 of those offenses has been perpetrated on us Aborigines in the past and continues to this day, all 5. Now, getting back to the book, Article 2 contains a narrow meaning for the crime of genocide, which includes 2 main elements. A mental element means the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such, and a physical element, which contain the 5 acts of genocide enumerated above. The meaning of genocide in this demand also includes Article 2 of the Genocide Convention as codified into United States Public Law 100-606. This public law contains the UN Genocide Convention enumerated 5 acts, in addition to another act for a total of 6. The additional act states causes the permanent impairment of the mental faculties of members of the group through drugs, torture, or similar techniques. Okay, so I'm breaking from the book to say that Public Law 100-606, that is a United States law, signed, enacted, codified into law by the House of Representatives and the Senate, the whole Congress. This law, this Genocide Convention, has 6 offenses. 5 that comes from the UN Genocide Convention and 1 that is added in. And all 6 of these offenses have been perpetrated on Indigenous Aborigines and continue to be perpetrated on us to this day, to this very day. All right, getting back to the book. Moreover, in this demand, United States of America means the free, sovereign, and independent confederation of states declared in North America by the Articles of Confederation, wherein the people of the United States are the true American people, also known as Aboriginal American people, Aboriginal Americans, Aborigines of America, natural-born people of America, and United States indigenous people. The prehistoric, pre-existing, pre-colonial nations of indigenous Aboriginal people, confederacies in continental North America, dating from immemorial antiquity. E pluribus unum. E pluribus unum. In this demand, United States administrators, officers, and elected officials mean servants of public trust for United States government under the Constitution. The government means executive, legislative, and judicial branches within the District, turning the page, of Columbia, and each department, bureau, corporation, agency, office, and instrumentality of United States, including all political subdivisions or municipalities, as well as incorporated and unincorporated governmental entities thereof pursuant to United States of America. Again, the people of the United States are the natural-born American people, Aboriginal American people, the lawful indigenous inheritors, owners of America, which mean owners of the land and soil. That's coming from our great law of peace. Also, the air and water comprising their ancestral homeland. We are the owners. The whole continental United States of America, total geography in its entirety. Aboriginal Americans are the autochtons, Proto-Negroid, which means people of the soil, the indigenous Negro-Negroid phenotypic people of America, the matrilineal, natural-born Aboriginal beings. Aborigines are the true owners of the land and soil, and none other may hold it. The same law has been held from the oldest time. That is a direct quote from the Great Law of Peace. Let's see, carrying on. Brother Alabama, is there any
Yes.
commentary or is there anything, feedback you have on what I have read so far?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Not anything specifically. We're going to continue your presentation and we'll flow into the conversation when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, brother. Racialization has been utilized by the administration to erase Aboriginal American natural-born origin, identity, status, and ancestral wealth inheritance from government records. This deliberately inflicts conditions of life on the indigenous Negroid phenotypic American people to bring about their physical destruction in whole or in part. The mental and physical harm perpetrated on indigenous Aborigines as specifically criminalized in the Genocide Convention defines every atrocity that has victimized us since federal administrative government began in 1789. Systemic racism defines the institutional framework in place for eradicating Aboriginal Americans based on race in the United States, generations before and now after UN codification of genocide. Extant Aboriginal American people are under daily coercion to permanently assimilate into a racialized United States society, misidentified as a Black/Negro race of African descent, notwithstanding the United States Genocide Convention Implementation Act of 1987 is in force. Since ratification of the Constitution in 1789, untold numbers of Aboriginal Americans have died from genocidal racist attacks. Accounts of race hate perpetrated by white citizens on individuals of the historic Black/Negro race is well documented from past to present times. The perpetrators of race hate on natural-born Aboriginal citizens are accountable to harm as criminalized in Public Law 100-606.
Now,
Turning the
that's one
page.
particular point that you made there. Could you elaborate on the law and what's the consequences?
Well, brother, I think I did elaborate on the law. However, I did not share what the consequences are in fines and in terms of jail. I would have to, in jail time, I would have to pull it up to quote it exactly, but from my memory, what I can remember is that any offense of genocide, out of those 6 offenses, if you commit anyone against a particular group that is named within the convention, which I'm saying us Aborigines, we are a national group. We're the nation of Aboriginal people in the United States. So any offense they commit against us, any one, that means you have perpetrated genocide on that people. But what I'm saying is they have committed all 6 total under Public Law 100-606. All 6 offenses has been perpetrated on us. And the fines, they go into the millions of dollars per offense. $1 million if you're found guilty, plus jail time. So it's all laid out. Anyone can reference that public law. It's a United States public law. It's in the statutes. Let me pull back up that slide.
And forgive me, I do not want to interrupt your flow again. Just let me know when you're ready to go over the talking points and we'll proceed from there.
Well, brother, I'm infusing the talking points into what I'm reading now. If you check the talking points, you will see I've covered genocide and I've covered specific meanings of race and racism and systemic racism. And I'm infusing them in certain parts of the book that I would like to share. Is that okay to continue?
No, keep up with your flow. That's why I didn't want to interrupt you, sis. Just let me know when you want to just have conversation.
Okay, thank you, brother. So this slide right here, it shows Public Law 100-606. It's 18 USC section 1091, and it defines genocide. So anyone can go look this up and read it more thoroughly. As I said, I did not get into the fines and the jail terms that could be put on someone who is found guilty of genocide. And you look under uscode.house.gov. So let me continue on. Let's see here. Turning the page. This is the last thing I'm going to read in this section on the meaning of specific terms. The rule of natural law exacts accountability for protecting natural rights. In respect to the rule of natural law, Aboriginal rights in this demand means the natural-born rights of Aboriginal American people, the Aborigines of America, United States Indigenous people, the natural-born citizen rights of the natural-born American people, Aboriginal Americans. Aboriginal rights encompass their de jure sovereignty, independence, matrilineal descent, culture, heritage, language, legacy, custom, ancestral inheritance, identity, status, natural wealth, natural technology, natural science, natural law, customary law, and ancestral traditions within continental North America. Aboriginal rights pre-existing from immemorial antiquity are under protection of national and international laws, in particular, the Constitution for United States of America, the Articles of Confederation, and the Great Law of Peace, in addition to international treaties and declarations protecting Aboriginal rights universally respected under the rule of law in perpetuity. Brother, that ends that section. If you want to engage in some conversation on anything that was stated, I'm open.
Excellent. And I do have a guest, and anyone that is interested, you do see the link. We'll consider after we get through with our conversation whether we'll entertain any interchanges. But let me just go through what we talked about earlier about our discussion. So let's start with Crispus Attucks. And what did you want to share with what the narrative, the historical fact, and what is the difference between being told that you're a perpetual slave of African descent? So Crispus Attucks, what do you want to elaborate on him?
Okay, I do want to elaborate on Crispus Attucks. However, if I can continue, because that is 1, 2, 3 more sections to go. And then I'm going to get to Crispus Attucks.
Okay, sis. Like I said, I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
Okay.
You continue on whatever you need. If
I
you
thought
want me to
maybe you
interact with
wanted
you, you can ask me something specifically, but I just wanted you to at least be able to present what you want to present. Then we can just flow from there.
Okay. All right. I will just continue. Continuing on to page 64. And in this next piece that I'm going to read, it's actually quoting the current president in his last year annual address to the joint session of Congress, the March 2025 address. And it states in the book, in his March 2025 presidential address to a joint session of Congress, President Donald J. Trump presented an historic narrative of the United States that excluded indigenous Aborigines. President Trump claimed America is a land of European immigrants. Quote, our ancestors crossed a vast ocean, strode into the unknown wilderness, and carved their fortunes from the rock and soil of a perilous frontier, unquote. He conveyed a great future of America, but gave no acknowledgement to Aboriginal American people, not even in his great closing. Below are some excerpts. Quote, Americans have always been the people who defied all odds, transcended all dangers, made the most extraordinary sacrifices, and did whatever it took to defend our children and country and our freedom, unquote. Next quote.
One other thing, though, sis, the slide is still on the Genocide Convention. If you wanted to move forward to where you're reading, people can't see it on screen.
I'm reading from the book, but I will move forward to another slide. And I'm going to continue with the quotes. Thank you, brother. Our ancestors crossed, this is quote, our ancestors crossed a vast ocean, strode into the unknown wilderness, and carved their fortunes from the rock and soil of a perilous and very dangerous frontier. They chased out destiny across a boundless continent, unquote. And he also quoted, and here's another quote, now it is our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty, and it is our turn to take America's destiny into our own hands and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This is our greatest era, unquote. Couple of more quotes here. And through it all, we are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit, and we are going to renew unlimited power of the American dream, unquote. Next and last quote, my fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank God. No, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. Unquote. So that's Trump 2025. Back to the book. The First Amendment protects free speech for all citizens. But how can someone support America First ideals without honoring and protecting the indigenous Aborigines that define America? Although the above excerpts of President Trump's address may be politically inspirational for his base, those words also perpetuate an historic usurpation of Aboriginal American natural-born rights and inheritance. Thus, continuing the eradication of indigenous Aborigines another 4 years, which actually adds unto generations of genocidal acts perpetrated by white citizens in the United States. Since 1789, immigrant socio-political control over America has been unrelenting. Also, the rise in non-white immigrants since 1965 has factored well into the democracy of a racialized United States society. All is business as usual, as long as the norm of systemic racism continues. President Trump gave no acknowledgement whatsoever to indigenous Aborigines as the natural-born American people in his speech. The socio-political ideology he presented continues and turning the page, eradication of the Aboriginals found here by the Europeans, but now exponentially usurped by the descendants of Europeans and non-European foreigners born in America. Trump's ideology demands revisiting the legal precedents opined by Chief Justice Taney in Scott v. Sanford. They were yet a free and independent people. This is a quote, quoting Chief Justice Taney, quote, they were yet a free and independent people, associated together in nations or tribes and governed by their own laws. Many of these political communities were situated in territories to which the white race claimed the ultimate right of dominion, but that claim was acknowledged to be subject to the Indians to occupy it as long as they thought proper. And neither the English nor colonial governments claimed or exercised any dominion over the tribe or nation by whom it was held, occupied, nor claimed the right to the possession of the territory until the tribe or nation consented to cede it. Now that's Scott v. Sanford, 1857. So let me just back up on that.
And
Supreme
that would be
Court.
the infamous Dred Scott ruling that you just quoted.
Yes, brother. Let me just back up a little bit onto that excerpt. When he said that, I'm inputting indigenous Aborigines. They were yet a free and independent people. And then when he says territories, situated in territories, those are Aboriginal ancestral homelands. Those are our territories. And then when he says Indians, Indians are Aborigines. In Bouvier's dictionary, Law Dictionary, 1856, Indians is defined as what Aborigines are so called in United States. And so when he talks about here whom it was occupied, we didn't occupy our ancestral homelands. We held them by inheritance. That's not occupation. Just correcting the Chief Justice, his opinion. And then let's see, the last thing they say here are tribe or nations, and that's Aboriginal nations. So let's see where I was going next here. Oh, okay. Let me continue on in the book. Unlike the above SCOTUS majority opinion acknowledging sovereignty of Aborigines in 1857, President Trump confirmed an ongoing usurpation of America by complicit immigrants in his 2025 address to a joint session of Congress. The indigenous erasure of Aborigines have resulted in an immigrant takeover of the entire continental Aboriginal homeland of America. The words territory to which the white race claimed the ultimate right of dominion, as opined by Chief Justice Taney, symbolically reverberated throughout President Donald J. Trump's 2025 address to a joint session of Congress. An historic immigrant land grab of America is obviously recorded by every public and private land transaction in the United States. Congressional actions enabled federal land use policies that dispossessed and transferred Aboriginal ancestral homelands over to the floodgates of European immigration during the 19th and 20th centuries. A system of racism webbed between federal, state of, county, and local governments, facilitated administering the takeover of Aboriginal lands and natural wealth resources. The federal government action of granting transitional land deeds to complicit immigrants unlawfully extinguished Aboriginal title by conversion into so-called public and private land titles. The historic government alienation of the Aboriginal American continental homeland resulted in critical levels of regional deforestation to virgin Aboriginal forests across America. I'm continuing on in the book. The forest clearings provided land and timber resources to permanently settle unprecedented numbers of immigrants to United States from multiple European countries. Okay, turning the page.
Sis, because you're reading from the book and people can't see on screen, where are you in your slide presentation?
I haven't started the slide presentation. The previous video that you shared was so powerful that I decided to get right into the readings. However, if you want me to stop and present the slide presentation, I would be more than happy to do it.
Well, I just think it because a couple of people are commenting and saying they couldn't follow, what you're reading. So, and I wasn't sure if it was actually what you had on screen. So if you want to go through that, and then, whenever you're ready, we can have the conversation portion.
Go through what?
Your slide presentation. Like I said, I'm
okay.
noticing commentary on they can't follow what you're reading, and then it doesn't match up with what's on screen. So that's all I was saying. Still wanted to go through the slides, then I'm not trying to interrupt your flow, but you got it, sister. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, brother. So I would like to encourage everyone to get a copy of the book. And I was just reading from specific sections. However, now I'm going to move on to the slide presentation and share that with all the brothers and sisters present. Yo, what is genocide? Genocide is a crime. However, the genocidal erasure of indigenous Aborigines remains status quo in a racialized United States society today. The administrative misidentification of Aborigines as Black race was implemented under federal policy in 1850. It is absolutely unlawful and illegal to violate Aborigines in their homeland. Yet, on our American soil, naturalized Europeans persist in violating the rule of law to usurp our natural-born citizen rights. Because Aborigines are the only natural-born people of this soil. We are the American bloodline under natural law. There is only one people in America, indigenous Negro-Negroid phenotypic people. Everyone else is a foreigner, immigrant, alien, inhabitant, and their descendants. We Aborigines are the true Americans, the matrilineal American people, equal sovereigns, female and male. My book, Who Are You Calling Black?, calls out the genocide perpetrated by foreigners on us. It does not matter how many generations they have been here. They are not from here. 2026 marks 250 years since our Aboriginal leaders authored a confederation from governments long established under Great Peace Aboriginal custom. Out of many indigenous Aboriginal nations, one American people. Not FBA, a bought trademark, not ADOS, a political advocacy group, and not American freedmen claiming slavery, again, under natural law. Aborigines' natural-born rights cannot be violated. Black is a race-based status coerced on Aborigines by a majority rule immigrant society that normalizes genocide through systemic racism. But we Aborigines condemn the genocidal erasure of our people. We are setting the record straight as to who is who in the United States. It is our responsibility to save ourselves as natural-born Americans and save our country, United States of America. Yo, yama, yo. Amawa ka poshno, do fiholo wacho kaho loka, yo. That's the end. Thank you, brother.
Sister, that is a very powerful presentation, but I'm going to ask you to do a favor for me. I want you to stop sharing. I'm going to just play a little short thing, like a palate cleanser, and then when we come back, we're going to mix it up. And if people are interested, they're watching us live on YouTube, I think Big Dog has put the link in there. So if you do want to engage after we come back from this short break, I appreciate your participation. Give me a second here, sis.
Thank you, everyone.
First Americans' Declaration of Reclamation of Our Identity and Natural Rights. This declaration, dated the accepted and amended July 4th, 2019, is in response to the intrusion, genocide, gentrification, indoctrination, and reclassification of the over 100 million strong original peoples of North, Central, South America, and adjoining islands over a period of 4 or more centuries. The American Aboriginal peoples described in this declaration are hereby declared the free peoples of the so-called Western Hemisphere and the Americas, meaning clear of obstruction, unrestrained in movement, liberty of action or expression, not holding strictly to rule or form of nations, not subject to foreign rule or to despotism, based on principles of civil liberty, sense of given without cost and free of charge and cost. This declaration does not include the so-called Native Americans, Africans, European, Hindu-European, or Asian descendants, only the American Aborigines and mistakenly the American Negro and their descendants. Article 1. All so-called Black people in the Americas are not descendants of Africa, and this misclassification of our identity, i.e. colored, Negro, Black, and African American, is the result of social programming and indoctrination, and is not and will not be accepted by the autochthonous people in any manner, whether it be personally, socially, politically, or so-called legally. And any attempt to continue such reckless behavior will be seen as a conspiracy to commit a fraud, a hate crime, and defamation against the original peoples of the Western Hemisphere under international law and the American Constitution. The U.S. corporation, its nation states, affiliates, and sponsors have been committing many sorts of crimes against the original or Aborigine people of this land without as much as one warning for the genocide, rape, lynching, displacement, and scientific experiments. There are many documented cases. The list of nefarious and criminal activity is almost too long to imagine, and there must be an accounting and remedy for. By our estimates, the greatest majority of so-called white African and European descendants in the U.S. believe that the original or Aborigine people misclassified as Black were all brought here on slave ships by their ancestors, not realizing that we were here long before their ancestors existed. And the only reason that they believe the lie is because of the great effort to cover up factual history. Article 2. There are millions of acres of land held in trust by the governing bodies of the Americas that are the birthright of the original or Aborigine people of the land, and we demand that such land be returned in good faith and without obstruction, harassment, or oversight. Since the original or Aborigine people have been systematically removed and gentrified from our lands by fraudulent practices and intimidation, we feel it would be in the best interest of all involved to give back our land and allow us to live in peace. No exceptions. Article 3. We, as the original or Aborigine peoples of the commonly known as the Western Hemisphere, including, but not limited to, the Americas and surrounding islands being of sound mind, body, and spirit, reserve all rights to self-govern to the best of our ability without the need for regulation, obstruction, oversight, or harassment from the governing bodies. We will operate as a responsible, autonomous nation, and all treaties, trade agreements, tariffs, etc. thereof on our land must be approved by us alone. No exceptions. Article 4. We, as the original and Aborigine peoples of what is commonly known as the Western Hemisphere, reserve all rights to travel anywhere and any time of our choosing within the Western Hemisphere without obstruction, harassment, corporate identification, or citizenship of any state-sponsored territories. No exceptions. Article 5. We, as the original and Aborigine peoples, have been subject to what is commonly known as paper genocide or paper terrorism by the U.S. state, local governing bodies, and their affiliate Masonic partners' orders, i.e., policy writers, enforcers, and other corrupt actors. We will no longer accept your aggressive and, in most cases, detrimental paper, computer rulership in all of its forms. We are the original free peoples of the land, aka the first Americans. We are not and will not be your citizens nor property in any form, assaulting and attacking our people on an individual or group basis by anyone, including your citizens, your policy enforcers, or any of your corporate partners or affiliates will be considered a hate crime and will be dealt with as such. No exceptions. Article 6. All Aborigine, man, woman, or child have a natural right to protect themselves in any circumstances, and any attempt to deny this right will be dealt with in the most severe manner possible unless deemed otherwise by the appropriate counsel. No exceptions. Article 7. No Aborigine man, woman, or child will be enumerated, taxed, or brought into any other judicial or administrative body other than an Aboriginal council. No exceptions. Article 8. No Aborigine man, woman, or child are part of any so-called sovereign citizen or extremist group or movement of any kind, and any attempt by any individual, group, organization, or governmental agency to connect us to any will be considered a hate crime and defamation. No exceptions. Article 9. All Aborigine men, women, and children are free-born living beings and cannot be considered identified or treated as property or dead by the U.S. government or any other entities anywhere on land, air, or body of water. No exceptions. Article 10. No Aborigine men, women, and children can be used as debt or collateral by the U.S. government or any other entities anywhere on any land, air, or body of water. No exceptions. Article 11. We, as the original and Aborigine peoples of the so-called Americas, retain all rights to any and all resources that we deem necessary to sustain life, liberty, and the development of our people in any and all regards without obstruction, harassment, or oversight by any entity other than an Aboriginal council. No exceptions.
Okay, my sister, if you can hear me, and I'm going to ask the audiences just give us a little more time. I want to chop it up with you a bit over what we discussed and what you've shared, and just bear with me a second here. So I want to go back to considering what you think Crispus Attucks, whether he was used as a narrative in the Revolutionary War or not, would elaborate on how being misperceived is then used by the propaganda machine of the United States government.
Yes, brother. First of all, may I say that declaration was absolutely amazing. And who is the author?
That is Libra Sun and Supreme Chief Holiday, prepared through DJ Cataculus and our great sister Ism is Me 13. And if any of them are in the YouTube audience, I'm going to try to drop the link again if Big Dog hasn't. And go ahead, sis. I'm going to mute and we'll just interact.
Okay, so I did want to cover a little bit in the book on our mound building culture. However, if you want me to skip ahead to Crispus Attucks, I will do that if we can come back
No, go
to
ahead. I mean,
the
if you're going
reading.
back to sharing your screen with the presentation, we don't see it on screen.
Okay. I'm trying to share now. Excuse me, brother. That's the wrong presentation.
Oh, we good.
Thank you for your patience. I'm just going to put up this slide so that I can continue on in the book. Thank you. Yako Kilawa. Okay, continuing on in the book. Let's go to Crispus Attucks, and I hope we can circle back to the mound building, our mound building culture. Crispus Attucks, I'm moving on to page 133 on excerpts that I have of him. I have the wrong page numbers. I'm going to have to circle back to Crispus Attucks, brother. I have the wrong page numbers here. So
No, I wasn't sure if you want to continue with presentation. We were just going to have conversation. But if you have more of your presentation, go ahead. I'm muted.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Back to the book. The great degree of environmental devastation and loss in natural wealth inheritance to Aboriginal American people is unfathomable. Land grabbing by immigrants as private citizens of the United States from 1800s to 1900s amassed enormous fortunes from a great transfer of Aboriginal American inherited lands and natural resources into generational wealth for immigrants. The acquisition of such real estate transactions are well documented and recorded in government data generated by the Public Land Survey System, 43 USC 18. Detailed historic American deforestation statistics also serve as empirical proof in recording the non-random destruction to vast regions of Aboriginal American environmental landscapes from European immigration. This historic deforestation of Aboriginal America from the unabated desecration of ancient trees directly occurred in response to massive intrusion from overwhelming numbers of European immigrants flooding the country. The government afforded a relocation of various European ethnicities to the United States and coordinated their settlement of target regional areas. This historic European settlement in the United States happened from the planning and decision-making of executive branch policies as funded by Congress. These federal actions cannot withstand the fact that an Aboriginal built environment existed eons before European colonists invaded North America. The environmental spatial intelligence of indigenous Aborigines sculpted a flourishing forest landscape across continental North America. Their natural-born intuitiveness, traditional knowledge, and wisdom from a living cultural heritage that sustained indigenous, Aboriginal, environmental ingenuity and integrity from immemorial antiquity. Next are a couple of excerpts. Quotation, quote, rather than the thick, unbroken, monumental snarl of trees imagined by Thoreau, the great eastern forest was an ecological kaleidoscope of garden plots, blackberry rambles, pine barrens, and spacious groves of chestnut, hickory, and oak. The first white settlers in Ohio found woodlands that resembled English parks. They could drive carriages through the trees. 15 miles from shore in Rhode Island, Giovanni de Verrazzano found trees so widely spaced that the forest could be penetrated by even a large army. John Smith claimed to have ridden through the Virginia forest at a gallop, unquote. The next quotations. Americans were living in balance with nature, but they had their thumbs on the scale, shaped for comfort and convenience. The American landscape had come to fit their lives, and it was a system that Aborigines were abandoning in ever rising numbers at the time when Europeans came. Another quotation. In 1100 AD, a 4-level earthen mound, bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Around it, like echoes, were many as 120 smaller mounds, some topped by tall wooden palisades, which were in turn ringed by a network of irrigation and transportation canals, carefully located fields of maize, and hundreds of red and white plastered wood homes with high-peaked, deeply thatched roofs, located near the confluence of the Missouri, Illinois, and Mississippi rivers, a busy port, unquote. Next quotation. Covering 5 square miles and housing at least 15,000 people, the biggest concentration of people north of the Rio Grande until the 18th century. Unquote. Last quotation. Based around the Mississippi and its associated rivers, these societies scattered tens of thousands of mounds from southern Canada and the Great Plains to the Atlantic coast and the Gulf of Mexico. Highways, farms, and housing developments have destroyed most of them, and scientists have investigated only a small fraction of the survivors. Unquote. Continuing on. Whose authorization legalized and legitimized a total foreign takeover of the American geographic landscape, physical, environmental, cultural, political, and economic within continental North America? Only the free, prior, and informed consent from all Aboriginal American people would be legitimate authorization. No such consent exists because the nation of indigenous Aboriginal people in the United States of America has not given any such consent from past to present times. All right, I'm going to continue to the next section I want to cover in the book. Give me a couple of seconds. Brother, if you want to step in with some commentary while I move to the next section, I would appreciate it.
Certainly, but again, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just whenever you feel like I thought we just have some conversation. I see a couple of people in the chat on YouTube is trying to follow back and forth there. I did put the link in if you're interested. You can always click on the Zoom link. But how close are you to completing your presentation, sis? Because I wanted to talk on some of the things and elaborate in our conversation to fully bring out what you've been sharing from your book. So while you're getting, let me just read what's on screen there because I know a lot of people have been asking us. You can find the book in Amazon, and I also put the link in there as well. This is a demand that all United States government administrators, officers, and elected officials end the genocidal acts normalized against Aboriginal Americans in a racialized United States society. The Congress, executive branch, and SCOTUS most thoroughly answer under their constitutional oaths and duty. Who are you calling black? Thereby, truthfully, accounting to who is who in the United States of America because there is no such thing as a nation of immigrants. America is the national homeland of Aboriginal American people under genocide, harm from legal and illegal immigrants that are complicit in the normalizing indigenous erasure to obtain the so-called American dream. Every designated Black or African American with legacy, American maternal ancestry dating before 1860 must read this book for clarity on their identity crisis to solve who is naturally, more so than not, quote, we the people, unquote, of America. And I yield.
Thank you, brother. So regarding Crispus Attucks, I found the page. And these are some quotations that I'm citing in the book. Quote, here the terms colored persons, Blacks, and Indians are synonymous, unquote. Quote, who was Crispus Attucks? A Massachusetts Indian, the first life lost in our great revolutionary struggle. One of the ancient possessors of the soil, of the race which produced a Philip of Mount Hope and other great minds and capable leaders, unquote. And may I add that the date that is recorded for the death of Crispus Attucks was the 5th of March, 1770. The next quotation, quote, a Nantic Indian from Framington, and the hero that led to American independence and a rapidly approaching continental empire, unquote. So it's this quote here is saying that Crispus Attucks was a Nantic, N-A-T-I-C-K, Nantic Indian from Framingham, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's Framingham, Massachusetts, and they
Okay.
want to then modify Natic to native.
Nantic. Okay.
No, I
Thank
got
you.
you, sis, but go ahead.
Thank you. And the next quotation says the whole family is described as having been uncommonly large, said to have been the children Crispus, Sam, Saul, and Peter of Jacob Peter Attucks of Framingham. A next quotation, Jacob and Nancy were of Indian blood, but all who know the descendants, Crispus, Sam, Saul, and Peter, describe them as Negroes. Crispus lived in many different places in Natick and Framingham. Okay, so the next quotations are not on Crispus Attucks, but I would like to continue on this page.
Okay, one last point before you move on to that next thing. The narrative and some of the mythology of colonial America, there are some references made to a Wampanoag as well. And I don't know if that was the maternal or the paternal side. Very infrequently do they bring up the Natick that you just researched. But that's, 6 of one, half dozen another. Some say Wampanoag. The fact is, he was an Aborigine, and then they want to now codify him as a freedman or a freed slave. But go ahead, sis.
Thank you, brother, for adding that. What I've been reading from a lot of sources is they're trying to say Crispus Attucks was an Indian and he was mixed with African. So they're trying to say because he has Negroid phenotype, he has some African in him. When, from my research, what I've been able to find is that he was full blood Aborigine. Okay, let me continue to give more context to that era and in the late 1700s. It says, this is a quotation, out of the many paradoxes of indigenous enslavement, the number of cases after colonies and states passed laws against enslaving indigenous people, and even after the 13th Amendment. So let me just add in. So they're going from the colonial era to the into the United States federal era. Back to the quotation. Slaveholders used a variety of tactics to keep indigenous people in bondage, such as claiming that they were actually African, relying on arcane and confusing legislation, refusing to keep written records, and even selling their slaves out of state if anyone became suspicious. As the condition of slavery was passed between generations, identifying those who were free by law became an exceptionally difficult task. Unquote. The next quotation states, despite present day conceptions that all slaves were African, Indian slavery was ubiquitous. All right. And to wrap this section up,
Before you do, let me put in there the the difference between natural born rights and the issue that's being raised, contemporary birthright citizenship. Now, that's the 14th Amendment, and that's where you were talking about the supposedly anti-slavery amendments. Would you elaborate on and differentiate between natural born rights and alleged birthright citizenship?
well, natural born rights are the rights of the natural people of the land. There's only one people of this land, America, us, the American people, the Aborigines. We are the natural people of the land, and natural born rights are our rights. Now, when you speak of the 14th Amendment, you're speaking of actually two different statuses. The 14th Amendment, off the top of my head, reads, all persons born or naturalized in the United States, and in the states thereof, I believe it says, I'm going off the top of my head, are citizens of the United States. So you have all persons born. The 14th Amendment left out natural born, and they just said born. However, everyone knows that when they speak of the class of persons who were born, they're speaking of those who were so-called enslaved. Those are the persons who are covered under persons born. And those who are naturalized, those are all your immigrants. Everyone who comes here from somewhere else that goes through naturalization to become a citizen. Those are your naturalized. So it says all persons born or naturalized are citizens of the United States. And that's the difference. You have those who are natural born and those who are naturalized. There's only two. The natural born are us. No matter how much these immigrants, those who are the descendants of who maybe their parents or their grandparents went through naturalization, and 2 to 3 generations later, they are native born on the land. They're literally trying to claim that they are the natural born people. For one thing, they're not the people. They're subject citizens of the United States, and they inherited their naturalized status through their parentage, whether it was their parents directly or their grandparents. That lineage is passed down. We are the only natural born people. And I really cannot stress this enough. Our people have to stand on the truth of who we are as the Aborigines of this land. Aborigines are the only natural people of this land. We are the only natural born by matrilineal descent.
I think
Excuse
the
me
other
for getting
point,
a little
oh no,
compassionate there.
because I want to, this last point is the confusing what is a sovereign. And this has to be cleared up. There is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoronic statement. That's a contradiction in terms. To be sovereign is to be natural born. To be the sovereign
Yes,
of the Americas, specifically the United States, that's been carved out of North America. It is only those people who sprung from the soil of these 48 contiguous states. Hawaii and Alaska is a unique thing because Hawaii was an actual separate kingdom. Alaska is in question, being purchased from Russia. But how could they purchase something they don't own? No different than the Louisiana purchase. But go ahead, sis.
yes, brother, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So I just want to wrap up what I was reading right here in this section, if I may. I believe I left off right here. Since 1789, Aboriginal American people have survived an onslaught of genocidal acts in the United States perpetrated by complicit naturalized citizens while violating their pledge of allegiance to the Constitution. They blatantly violate the Constitution's guarantee for a Republican form of government. Naturalized citizens, under their various immigrant identities, partake in bipartisan fighting over which immigrant group controls the most democratic socio-political power in society. However, a substantial nonpartisan consensus among legal and illegal immigrants to perpetuate the indigenous erasure of Aborigines in the United States remains status quo. Immigrant nonpartisan consensus on American soil condemns them as perpetrators of indigenous genocide for their avarice to obtain the American dream. Yet, only a small group of super rich elite immigrants have truly realized the dream of immense wealth in the United States. The majority of naturalized and native born citizens collectively control little dream wealth. In comparison, in the United States, the overwhelming avarice of wealthy immigrants is unconscionable. But government policies and practices support their business as usual hubris with impunity, which grossly undermines the constitutionality of government in the United States. They all acquiesce to a white dominant racial hierarchy in United States society as norm, while also propagating that a collective immigrant heritage is the foundational American historical narrative. Brother, I have to ask you to please give commentary on that, and I'm gonna take a drink of water.
Oh, surely. Refresh yourself. And again, folks, I'll resubmit the link in the chat on YouTube. But you've gone pretty detailed in genocide, especially in the first slide showing what the law states. But I'd like you to maybe flesh out more the land grab issue. And I'm going to say specifically the Indian Removal Act of 1830, that the scene of the crime is the original gold rush, not the one that we were taught in California, but the Georgia gold rush, because the scene of the crime is the state of Georgia. The ruling by the Supreme Court in Cherokee Nation versus Georgia, Worcester versus Georgia in 1832. So when we are discussing land issues, we must understand it is Indian removal, whether it's called urban renewal, whether it's called gentrification, whether it's called redlining, and now it has evolved into smart cities or 15-minute cities, if you haven't heard the latest news. The AI data centers that are being built that are gobbling up land and resources. Literally, in the case of the criminal enterprise of Elon Musk, XAI, or what is called Grok, is actually trying to get the council in Memphis, Tennessee to redirect the flow of the Mississippi River, if you weren't aware of that, my sister. So go a little bit further in what is land grab and specifically what we should understand if the American known as the Negro is a renter, how that is a direct violation of their heritage and their birthright.
Okay. In regards to land grab, I asked if we can focus on that in our next podcast or presentation. I didn't reference those sections of the book, and I would have to go through and find those specific sections. However, I would like to just wrap up what I'm sharing with brothers and sisters regarding natural rights, natural born rights, because this is something that I think we have to really, really hone in on, that we, Aborigines, are the natural people of the land, and ours are natural born rights. Natural born rights are mentioned in the Constitution.
We'll roll back again with a tauntaun, which I think a lot of people have difficulty with that word. Literally means from the soil. You got it, sis.
Yes. Autochthon, one sprung from the soil he inhabits. Aborigines, literally sprung from the land itself. That's the etymology of the word. And that image right there is Blackfoot. That brother is Blackfoot. So getting back into the book, if I may, I just want to really hone in on natural born rights. And then after that, I think we can wrap it up. Back to the book. It cannot be reiterated enough that only Aborigines of continental North America are the sole natural born Americans in the United States, and their Black/Negro skin color does not violate the law of nature, respecting natural born rights. Now I have some quotations here. Quote, at the time that the Declaration of Independence was drafted, the rights that people spoke of were thought to be natural or God-given, unquote. Next quotation, natural rights are not granted to people by the government. Governments simply establish the political conditions under which people are permitted to exercise their natural rights. And then the government expects the natural people to live accordingly to those conditions. And the last quotation in this section states, natural rights, by their very nature, do not change with time. And so I ask this question in the book, so who is natural born in America? And so now I'm going to quote from the Congressional Globe. And this is a court case from 1772, which is before the American Revolution. In this court case, it states, quote, Aborigines of the continent whose rights we had sufficiently violated when we took from them their lands without adding further aggravation by enslaving their persons, unquote. So let me just add right here that I go more in depth in this case in a portion of the book. Right now, I'm just reading an excerpt, but the actual case, the lawyer, he argued that although his client was claimed to be an Indian slave, because the statutes during colonial time, they misidentified Aborigines as Indians in the colonial statutes and literally legalized enslavement of Indians. He claimed in his argument to the court that although his client is enslaved as an Indian, his client is actually an Aborigine, and that there is no policy of enslaving Aborigines under colonial statutes. And that argument was made in several of the freedom cases. So once you get the book, you can reference that part of the book where I go more in depth in that case and talk about who petitioned the court and what their story was. Getting back to the book right here, another reference from another case, and this one is from 1797. Quote, "But no views of policy authorized the slavery of Aborigines of this country. It's impossible to render them slaves." So under our correct identity as Aborigines, they could not enslave us. They cannot violate our rights on our ancestral homeland. Under the term Indian, they were enslaving our people in the millions. In the millions, they were enslaving us, utilizing that term. And it's not even really an identity. It's a brand. It's a European exonym that was utilized to misidentify us, strip us of our rights, dispossess us of all our inheritance, and enslave us, force us to work for them on our ancestral homeland. And that's the way my ancestors taught me. That's my oral tradition, what happened to us. So let me wrap this part up. Back to the book, native-born ethnic European descendants in United States persist on self-identifying as natural-born Americans. This condemns native-born aliens as complicit with the indigenous erasure of Aboriginal American people. Here's a quotation to go along with that. Quote, "The children of enemies born in a place within the dominions of another sovereign, then occupied by them by conquest, are still enemies." Let me repeat that one more time. The children of enemies born in a place within the dominions of another sovereign, then occupied by them by conquest, are still enemies. And that's from a United States court case. Here is one more reference I would like to cite. Quote, "Nothing is better settled at the common law than the doctrine that the children, even of aliens born in a country, while the parents are resident there, under the protection of the government and owing a temporary allegiance thereto, are subjects by birth." And that's coming from United States versus Wong Kim Ark, 1898. So this goes back to what you were saying, brother, about us as the sovereigns. And our sovereignty comes through our matrilineal descent. They are naturalized citizens, and that also comes through their lineal descent as naturalized people, naturalized subjects, excuse me, they're not people, they're the subjects of the United States federal government. And so that concludes that section. I want to wrap this up with one more section. And
Before you go to that, because you elaborated very much in detail what identity status is at issue. Um, the key point here, because when you finish up that section, I wanted to go back to your book, especially with the table of contents, and say those particular demands that you have outlined for each section, and then you go further in detail with your research. What was your point about corporate model? You could either answer after you do your last presentation or incorporate it in what the next section you cover. And I think we only got a couple more points. I'm going to reiterate, and Big Dog did say that as well in the YouTube chat. The Zoom link is pinned at the top, so we're probably going to be close to wrapping up. If there's anyone who wants to express some insight or ask a specific question on the importance of this book, let's not forget, who are you calling black? Go ahead, sis. What's the corporate model?
yes, and that is the next section that I was moving on to, brother. You're right on time. All right. From the book. In United States, the federal corporation is an administrative model of governance established by Congress. These are quotations. The government corporation model has been utilized by the federal government for over a century, unquote. Next quote. It transforms governmental entities into private firms, unquote. Next quote. Congress at times has found the government corporation an attractive governance option, unquote. Next quote. The government corporation may be established to serve as an enduring purpose or may serve as a vehicle for privatization, unquote. So let me just comment on those quotes right there. The federal corporate model has been in effect since the federal corporation began in 1789. And what they have been doing is they start corporations through the federal government institution. And then those corporations transition into private corporate entities. Now, I haven't done as much research as I want to do on how they're going about doing this, but it says it's just clearly right here. And I was just quoting from a policy paper of the United States federal government. And he says that they use the government corporation as a vehicle for privatization. And so we know that anything on the private level, as far as the government is concerned, is their method of denationalizing us. So let me just continue on in the federal corporate model. On the next page, I state the federal corporation model represents American as a majority rule dominant population group made up of white citizen capitalists exploiting democracy in the United States and around the world. This is in contrast to the oldest definition of American as Aborigines of America. Okay. Americanization is truly a conformance to indigenous Aboriginal values, customs, and institutions founded on natural law, as instilled in the principles and traditions of great peace in North America. So what I'm saying right here is that although they have gone around the world with this federal corporate model, what is truly American comes from us in our customs and traditions and heritage. All right, continuing on. During the 1600s in North America, the corporation was a European colonial business model imported from Britain. The British Crown's corporate model of colonial investments was alien to the American trading customs of indigenous Aborigines. British corporate colonies are joint stock companies of investors under charter to pursue generating profits from commerce in North America. Here's a quote: charter colonies, also known as corporate colonies or joint stock companies, one of the three classes of colonial government: provincial, proprietary, and charter, established in the 17th century English colonies of Rhode Island, Connecticut, and originally Massachusetts Bay. The king allowed the colonial government to establish the rules under which the colony was to be governed. Unquote. Back to the book. The previous definition of charter colonies is a succinct description of then British Crown's corporate model. This business model initiated a colonial invasion against Aborigines in their North American ancestral homelands. Corporate colonies implemented policies for the usurpation of Aboriginal American sovereign lands and natural wealth resources, as well as sanctioning the enslavement of Aborigines. Next quotation. Although charters allowed recipients considerable latitude in their operations, they also outlined the basic institutional structure of the colonial corporation, the constraints on its powers, and the obligations it had to meet to remain in the good graces of the crown. Back to the book. The colonial corporate invasion and usurpation of North America ended with the British surrender at Yorktown in 1781. The American Revolution revolved territorial sovereignty back to the natural-born American people as the free, sovereign, and independent United States of America. Since the 1783 Treaty of Paris, Article 1 still in force, any subsequent usurpation of American sovereignty by foreigners are criminal acts that violate the natural-born rights inherited by Aboriginal American people. Indigenous Aborigines are the de jure American nationals by matrilineal descent, pursuant to customs, norms, and traditions founded in the great law of peace. And I end it right there, brother. There's a lot of book. There's a lot more book, and there's a lot more in this book that defines the demand of the book. And I know you said you want to go over what the actual demands are in the table of content. So I'm turning there. And demand standpoint number one, end race designation of Aboriginal Americans by skin color. Number two, end the historic racialization of Aboriginal Americans. And number three, end misidentifying Aborigines as a Black or African American racial group. And in the book, I surmise that these demands will be met when Congress pass legislation and that legislation is signed into law, acknowledging, recognizing, respecting, identifying, and protecting us, Aborigines, as Aboriginal Americans in our ancestral homeland of America. And
Yeah,
I'm going to end it right there.
before I share one last thing on it, because I wanted you to, you did say it, but incorporate systemic racism in what the definition, I think you said it was from the American Psychological Association.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Just a minute. Let me turn to that. I think I can find that. Just give me
And anyone
a
that's
minute.
interested, again, I've been putting the link in there. Big Dog has also said, if you'll notice, it's pinned at the top. I think maybe we'll give it another maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Just click on the link and you'll be invited.
Are you ready, brother?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, what I
Okay.
was saying is anyone that's interested, click on the link and I'll invite you in. And there was one other point, once you elaborate on the racism, I want to circle back to Proto-Negroid and the mound building civilizations of the Negro known, the American known as the Negro, I prefer to say, and why ethnogenesis is being pushed by people like Tariq Nasheed. But go ahead, sis.
All right. Thank you, brother. So I'm going to quote the APA, the American Psychological Association. And I apologize because my voice is starting to waver. Quote, in North America, the collective terms Native American and Native North American are acceptable and may be preferred to American Indian. Indian usually refers to people from India, and that's the APA 2022. That reference is in the book. And now getting back to the book, I had to respond to the APA. It is important to reiterate that APA guidelines recommend calling Indigenous people what they call themselves, such as the Aborigines of Australia calling themselves Aboriginal Australians, which is similar to the Aborigines of America calling themselves Aboriginal American. Additionally, APA offered an apology to people of color for APA's role in promoting, perpetuating, and failing to challenge racism, racial discrimination, and human hierarchy in the US, as well as an offer of apology on behalf of the American Psychological Association to First Peoples in United States. The APA included in their apology statement to First Peoples, quote, APA's failure has contributed to systemic inequalities and structural forms of oppression suffered by First Peoples and their communities. These actions hurt First Peoples through racism and discrimination, unquote. Next quotation. APA and the discipline of US psychology arose in the mid 19th century in a social and political context characterized by the Eurocentric belief in manifest destiny and human hierarchy, such that a belief in the natural order that some races are superior to others, thereby protecting and privileging whiteness, white people, and white belief systems. These concepts of whiteness based on arbitrary policies, beliefs, and definitions of non Christian religions as races went unchallenged and were explicitly supported by APA and psychology. Back to the book. APA hopes their apology to First Peoples is a commitment to change, as inspired by the Australian Psychological Society's approach to their country's Indigenous Negro Negroid phenotypic people Aboriginal Australians. Quote, by listening more and talking less, following more and steering less, advocating more and complying less, including more and ignoring less, and collaborating more and commanding less. Unquote. The APA must acknowledge Aboriginal Americans as indigenous Negro phenotypic people of America, akin to Aboriginal Australians, to fulfill a pledge to ethics as stated in their apology to people of color. Quote, this is a quotation from the APA. Racial inequalities result from laws, systems, policies, practices, and cultural narratives that reflect racial bias and white supremacist ideology, and that APA and psychology, in keeping with the ethical values reflected in the APA Ethics Code, have an important role and responsibility to disarm and dismantle racism in all its forms. That's APA. And also, lastly, one more APA apology that they're trying to give to us indigenous. APA psychology, including American psychology, including APA, has been complicit in actions that have perpetuated racism. Therefore, an important aspect of APA's continued work in understanding how psychology can meaningfully contribute to disarming and dismantling individual and systemic racism is to first acknowledge that racism has had a historical underpinning in white supremacy and in supporting structures of white privilege institutionally and structurally for centuries, unquote. And that wraps up that section. Let me
Well, I'd
just
like you to
add,
incorporate how people like FBA, ADOS, and pushing an issue called ethnogenesis, how that psychologically damages a people and perpetuating that we are either born slaves or by African descent in perpetual servitude, according to the doctrine of discovery.
yes, brother. So I'm going to have to let you elaborate on that, articulate that, because I haven't heard ADOS or FBA's stance. I rarely engage in any of their discussion, and I do not follow them on social media. So I'm not aware. I spoke to you about ethnogenesis, and I did hear recently on BAP's platform, on Aboriginal Powers platform, them speaking on ethnogenesis. However, I do not know what ADOS and FBA's stance is regarding that. So if you could please share that with us, I am open to hear your analysis on what they're trying to say.
Well, Tariq Nasheed is popularizing a phrase that could come from the anthropological, archaeological, scientific research community. I'm not going to question whether or not it's a scientific fact. But the basic argument is that ethnogenesis is arguing that the American known as the Negro, and that's the way I say it for marketing purposes, the same as Tariq Nasheed has trademarked foundational Black American as a marketing tool. But when he gets called on it, particularly in whether or not he's the leader of an organization, he says it's genealogy, it's lineage, and then will fall back on claiming the code is the leader, though he never identifies the code is the work of Neely Fuller Jr. So when a person pushes that there's such a thing as ethnogenesis, the argument they are raising is the American, known as the Negro, referred to as nigga worldwide in culture and music and fashion, all over the globe, 24 hours a day, categorized colored in the Racial Integrity Act, treated as black, which by law is discriminatory, that all of these things are a cauldron, if you will, that fashioned through oppression and perpetual American chattel slavery, a genetic being has been created. Now, I could be in error, sis, but you can expound on that as you choose. And I'd like us to wrap up by going back to the Proto-Negroid is actually all mound building and civilization that existed for tens of thousands of years prior to foreign invasion. But go ahead, sis. Cook.
Yes, thank you, brother. So the section in the book where I cite the anthropological sources on Proto-Negroid, I'm still trying to locate. I was not able to bookmark that section. However, I did want to swing back around to the discussion on land grabs and our land. And I just want to wrap up that one section where there was just another paragraph that I wanted to read. And it states this: the continental homeland of America was expropriated from Aboriginal American people through discriminatory government land use policies. These policies engineered conversion and redistribution of American natural wealth resources into private capital for corporate investment while regulated by United States codes. This demand asserts that government administrators, officers, and elected officials implemented the transfer of Aboriginal American environmental homelands over to the control of government regulated venture capitalists. These immigrant capitalists aggressively pushed and pulled for the takeover of America by usurping the Aboriginal American homeland through public and private land titles as well as land patents. Government land use redistribution policies are the cornerstone of manifest destiny for immigrants in America. Such policies empowered immigrants by alienating Aboriginal American people from their customary indigenous possession of ancestral homelands by extinguishing Aboriginal title. These land use policies violated the indigenous natural born rights of inheritance belonging to Aboriginal Americans, which are legal and lawful, unalienable rights. And I'm going to end that right there.
So, sis, if we're about to, because I know you've been weary on talking so much, again, one last invitation. Anyone who does want to click the link and may ask a question or share something as their commentary from what you heard from this great authoress, that would be my good sister Angel. Let me just share this one section of DS3. This is from Demand Statement 3, Historical Typology. The historic legal meaning of Indian contrasts significantly from its current legal meaning in the United States. At present, the Indian term legally is a political status not representing race, as opined by the Supreme Court of the United States in 1974. That's Morton versus Mancari. Moreover, this SCOTUS opinion does not change a 1902 State of Washington Supreme Court case which opined, quote unquote, Indian to mean one of the, quote, Aboriginal race or people, unquote. That's in the court case Frazee versus Spokane County in 1902 in the United States. Furthermore, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution utilized the term Indians, plural, whereby, according to early United States law dictionaries, the historical term Indian referred to quote unquote aboriginals in Black's Law Dictionary 1910, as well as quote unquote aborigines in Bouvier's 1856 edition of America. It is also significant to reference the term Indian as defined in Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary. Indian, a general name of any native of the Indies. As an East Indian or West Indian, it is particularly applied to any native of the American continent, unquote. Now, in parting, again, one last call for alcohol. If you'd like to click on the link and ask my sister a question, please do so now because I'm going to read this final demand. Demand final conclusion. This demand calls the end to genocide of Aboriginal American people. This demand restores the truth of Aboriginal American natural born origins, identity, status, and inherited natural wealth in the United States, which includes all continental United States of America lands, waters, and natural resources. Let it be known this demand ends over 200 years of government policies that has social politically misidentified Aboriginal American people in a racialized United States society as slave, colored race, free black, black slash Negro race, Negro slash Indian, Negro slash black race, and Black or African American racial group. This demand calls out the historic executive branch approach of indigenous erasure as an institutional norm of systemic racism in the United States since 1790. And this demand emphatically calls the end to all genocidal acts perpetrated on Aborigines in their ancestral homeland country, the United States of America. And as far as 1790 is concerned, and I keep saying this though people may ignore this old Negro, there is only one category of United States citizen and designated in the Naturalization Act of 1790 as a free white person, though it has never been legally defined to this day in 2026. In 1870, the revised and updated Naturalization Act extended United States citizenship to those of African nativity, means proof of born on that continent over there, or those of African descent, which I argue has yet to be proven, or any evidence there's such a thing as one drop or a nigger in a woodpile. But if you'd like to elaborate on any of that, sister?
Yes, I just would like to say thank you for pulling that part out of that last standpoint, and also that the so-called free white person, which they changed or they turned it over into just a white person or a white race, that identity of white has not changed since the 1790 census. They're still white. You just listed all the different identities that they had put on our people, that they had attached to us. All those different identities. It just depended on which census that you're going to reference. They have been white from the beginning and they're still white now, which is a social construct when you read the definition of free white person. And another thing I wanted to state, oh my goodness, it escapes me now since I was talking about that. However, what was it?
Any discussion about a free white person, again, has never been defined in law and never been challenged in the court.
They have a
It is a
definition.
default. Well, I'm not disputing whether or not it is defined. It has never been legally challenged. In the
Okay.
Constitution, there are no black persons, no white persons. And if the so-called European is the founding father, it's mighty strange they didn't include European in the context. The only identified population is Indians, whether it's a negative affirmation, they should not be taxed, whether it is referring trade, tariffs, and taxes about Indian tribes. There is no reference to European, African, Asian, Arab, Native, or Hispanic. And there certainly is no black or white person in the Constitution. Now, the rules laid out by the Constitution was to direct the House of Representatives, the Congress, to create the rules of naturalization. So again, even the process of naturalizing is creating a fictitious thing referred to as a free white person. Now, until someone can show me where one was either enslaved, unfree, or indentured servant was defined as a white person, then these statuses, and I'm claiming, again, it's my opinion, since I don't play a lawyer on TV, that all references lawfully to the Constitution are referencing, quote unquote, an Indian population, or by definition, Americans are aboriginal to this land. So all United States citizens are of foreign origin. All United States citizens are a legal construct of naturalization, and all United States citizens, in my opinion, are agents of the United States government, therefore subject to it, and ultimately traitors to the actual American by calling themselves American. And just one more addendum to what you quoted from Donald John Trump. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., in his final State of the Union address, declared, "We are all from somewhere else, but we are all Americans now." A full declaration of the crime and an admittance of who is the criminal. So all United States citizens, by definition, are from somewhere else. And all United States citizens, through hyphenation, suggest they are American. And American is not an adjective. A Japanese cannot be American, a Chinese, a German, an Aboriginal from Australia even cannot be American unless, and you know how they flip the script, sis, American has become an adjective, so therefore that's why you can be like a black or white American. And I yield.
Yes, yes, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. They are definitely not Americans. American is a bloodline. And these folks, because they're not people, I call them folks, they are from someplace else. They're not from here. And so when we, as the people of the land, stand on that truth, they can do nothing but recognize it and respect it and do their job based on that Constitution. They're supposed to be defending and supporting the Constitution, and the Constitution actually defends and supports us. So I want to wrap this up. I just want to share one last thing from the end of the book. And I thank everyone who is present. I thank Brother OG Philly for sharing his platform. Thank you, brother, so very much. Utmost respect and appreciation to you. So I would like to just read this last page of the book. Aboriginal Americans are not defined by a socio-political, constructed, race-based population group identity, such as slave, colored, Black/Negro, and Black or African American. Aboriginal Americans are indigenous Negro-Negroid phenotypic people of America. The extant Aborigines in United States of America, and not a Black/Negro. Aboriginal Americans are United States of America indigenous people. We indigenous Aborigines, the true Americans, hold the indigenous natural-born rights to inherit our environmental homeland country, internationally known as United States of America, which is an inheritance under the law of nature and the law of blood forever. In pursuance to our great peace customs pre-existing in North America from immemorial antiquity, Aboriginal Americans had the utmost gratitude and respect for our great peace, our ancestry of America, our inheritance of America, our continuity as the natural-born people of America, our distinction as natural-born citizens in the United States, also our free and independent status as nation-state republics in the perpetual Articles of Confederation. Let it be known, we, Aboriginal Americans, are the American people. We, the people of peace, the greatest national treasure of America. We belong to our ancestral homeland of America, and our ancestral homeland country of America belongs to us.
And if you're interested in interviewing my good sister, please reach out to Big Dog Philly O'Shea. Thank you for allowing us access to your platform, brother. If there's no one that's going to join in or to ask her a question, let me share the screen, sister, in parting. So I'd like to wrap up with the next generation of clan mothers and the power that they will express going forward in our future. And thank you, my dear sister. I wish that we could have Sister Clan Mother Cheryl Woody.
Hey, you're welcome,
close
sister.
us
I've
out.
been listening the whole time. Excellent presentation. My bad. Y'all got it.
Peace and love, peace and power.
Must be asked of the youth, who are you?
Can I help you? Yeah, I came to reclaim my birthright.
Peace, this is Mayday. Hear the call, no play, they got the mic check. 1, 2, making sure the message stays straight. This ain't a game, this is closing the ranks. Let's give thanks to the ancestors standing firm upon these ancient riverbanks. A TEP production, yeah, you know the sound and the heat. Camaraderie is the currency, success is tasting so sweet. Who are we? Where are we? Are we where we need to be? Still rooted in the soil, indigenous, we never deflate. Closing the ranks, gotta unify the whole fam. Stronger together, that's the powerful battle plan. From the soil, from the land, yes, we're taking our stand. Unity's a bomb more potent than any quicksand. Well, closing the ranks, hear the rhythm, feel the vibration. Protect the culture, the mind, the future of the nation. We were born free, not enslaved, understand the history. Reclaim the narrative, break the chains of false mystery. Nasir said make it plain, so the understanding is broad. Demons came with tricknology, their doctrines are flawed. Troublemakers of the earth, mental sodomies, the method, warmongering thieves. Where they step, everything shredded, the shedding of blood. They delight wherever they arrive, leaving massive voids, destroying everything that was alive. Reclassification scheme, a tactic to still a terrain. From Aboriginal, indigenous to Negro, back and forth again. In 1 century, they tried to erase our foundation. From black to African American, confusion across the whole nation. But the wise men spoke truth, that shit in the deep stone. Our unity, one voice can never be overthrown. More powerful than atomic bomb, that's the calculation. Let's unite right now, fulfill the true spiritual obligations. In the ranks, gotta unify the whole fam. Stronger together, that's the powerful battle plan. From the soil, from the land, yes, we're taking our stand. Unity's a bomb, more potent than any quicksand. Closing the ranks, hear the rhythm, feel the vibration. Protect the culture, the mind, the future of the nation. We were born free, not enslaved, understand the history. Reclaim the narrative, break the chains of false mystery. No more division, only precision. Power
help you? Yeah. I came to reclaim my birthright.
Remove your car scratches in 60 seconds or get your money back.
Hands up in the air, unified and bold. Shoulders locked tight, stories untold. This is the camaraderie, the brotherhood flow. We all stand in that for the people we know.
Field Marshal Brother Nazir, never back down. Talk your talk media, word spreads around town. Big dog, Philly OG, wisdom in his bark. Big Aboriginal power, lighting up the dark. Key Norfolk on the line, speaking truth through the static. Open to knowledge, mind sharp, automatic. Sure is the realest with that unbreakable stance. Bro Sanchez bringing light, giving minds a chance. Dangerous music, Drake Cobb's on the sound. DJ Cuddy spins it, our anthem hits the ground. T wriggles, Dulcinea, voices join the crowd. Smoke signal in the air, make the ancestors proud.
We all stand, we all rise, act for our people, open up our eyes. Linked by legacy, forged in the fire. This is camaraderie, we lift each other higher. We lift each other higher.
Supreme Chief Holiday, guiding with honor. Voodoo Child channel spirit, the feeling gets stronger, no one left behind. Every name is a torch, lighting freedom's path. As we move off the porch, every voice different, but the heart's the same. We paint our own future, signing with our names. Forged by the struggle, united by the fight. One dream, one people, together in the light.
We all stand, we all rise, act for our people, open up our eyes. Linked by our legacy, forged in the fire. This is camaraderie, we lift each other higher. Hands clasped in a circle, ancestors hear the call. Past, present, future, together we won't fall. From the roots in the soil to the stars in the sky, voices echo strong, let the unity fly. We all stand, we all rise, act for our people, open up our eyes. Linked by our legacy, forged in the fire. This is camaraderie, we lift each other higher. We lift each other higher. We all rise, act for our people, open up our eyes. Linked by our legacy, forged in the fire. This is camaraderie, we lift each other higher. This is for the people, our movement, our pride. This is camaraderie, we stand side by side.
Big Dog Philly OG, my brother from another mother, and my sister from another mister. Who you calling black? And if you want to interview the lovely Angel, reach out to Big Dog anytime. And I gather, Big Dog, you will rebroadcast this. It's turned over to you, my brother. And thank you for access to the platform. And I yield.
Yo, your ma, yo.
Yes, sir. I'll definitely make sure I play it back, bro. Grand Rising night. I'll definitely make sure I play it back. Much love and respect to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the house. We're gonna close out with some dangerous music like we always do, man. Hood Politics Part 4, man. Hopefully everybody good. Have a good night, everybody. Nobody told y'all they love y'all.
It's of the people behind the bars. You feel me?
Now you talking with
The goddess of love, hey. The goddess of love, love.
Now you talking with
The goddess of love, hey. The goddess of love, love.
Now you talking with
The goddess of love, hey. The goddess of love, love.
Now you talking with
The goddess of love, hey. The goddess of love, love. You feel me? You feel me?
Well, you know, it's so despicable. And think about what kind of monster takes a horrible tragedy like this, a personal tragedy that breaks everybody's hearts. Takes a tragedy like this and uses it to advance some weird political agenda.
Greatness walked in the building, I did you miss me? Flat earth don't mean niggas live on the frisbee. Niggas still believe in religion and watch suffering. Niggas put their faith in a system that don't fuck with them. Black gloves cover my hands, committing homicide. Memories plotting revenge, it left me traumatized. Coming from the bottom and trying to get to the other side. The greatest motivation in life, watching my mother cry. Big corporations still consider it slaves. Freedom got a price, they call it minimum wage. The money make predators, these descendants that pray. But we ain't never done, new beginnings await. If you ain't fucking with me now, you really think I need y'all? The roller coaster ride of life, it's kinda like the seesaw. But when you get to this view, everything could seem small. It even got these bitches diving mouth first to these balls. Man, shit change when I get in the V. Cause I just let my ego drive when I sit in the seats. I mean, I used to be a bummy nigga, simple and clear. Then I cleaned up and turned into the pimp of the year. Any nigga harming a child is a terrorist. Niggas still believe in the book, need a therapist. You fly, but you catching the bus. This shit embarrassing. Quick to say you stacking them bucks. This shit hilarious. Niggas thought homie was soft, but he a block nigga. Quiet ones always let off. You gotta watch niggas. Legend is 12 was thirsty and tried to stop niggas. Same cat, him and his mans turned into cop killers.
Authorities say the suspect,
Damien.
age 35, deliberately lured the officers to his home with a 911 call, waiting for them, armed with an AR-15 assault rifle.
Hey yo, the chosen one, light-skinned nigga, yeah, the golden one. Father to the fire with this shit, I control the sun. Niggas did the double cross thing, got his ball sling, put the barrel under his chin and made his thoughts ring. But fuck the government, the way that it stands. Every branch attached to it, all the way to Japan. I hope niggas break from it any way that you can. It only take a few steps to walk away from the plan. Shit, I hope niggas wake up, learn we gotta win. School shooting made the news, they turning it to a trend. They wanna keep you dumb and blind. Voting for your favorite crooks, always for the lesser evil, never for the greater good. Can't sleep, one eye open like a cyclops. Can't believe none of they truth, this shit is psyops. The sunset then sunrise, good mornings turn to goodbyes. Meeting at the funeral service, that's when the love dies. Father kills 2-year-old, now that's a monster. Woman shot her husband on live, he need a doctor. Homie didn't make it, of course, see that's that girl lost. She did that in front of their kids, and the world saw. It's been a few years in this world, been on some crazy shit. Desensitized the mind, they made this shit exist. I'm just trying to tell you the truth, that's the way it is. Hood Politics Part 4, my name Dangerous.
OG and his family love y'all. We out, man. Peace.